So I've actually thought long and hard about a lot of different things when it comes to the Snyder Cut. To be honest with you, I've actually been working on a documentary on what this is all about and what my thought process is on. And I mean, I think a part of this has even started since Man of Steel even came out, when there was a lot of issue that people took in terms of what Man of Steel was, how it went beyond the grain, so to speak, and how this wasn't their Superman. And it was just such a divide that happened even in the very beginning stages of this. But these are going to be a set of questions that I'm going to kind of put up in terms of what I think people should ask about any of these, and specifically when it comes to Sunday for the Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition screening, because I actually was privy to be able to watch the screening of the Ultimate Cut in theaters for the 1 or 2 days it was actually out. And actually my wife, I think we were dating at the time, that was her first time even seeing Batman vs. Superman, and she really enjoyed the Ultimate Cut. Long, but she very much so enjoyed it. Whereas, watching the theatrical cut was not, up to par when she ended up looking at it. But let's go and break down some of the questions that I can kind of process and think about. And at the same exact time, I'm going to interweave some of the things and processes that I've been considering and assessing when it comes to the different things and facets of this documentary that I'm going to be releasing before this event. I've actually now, okay, it's time. It's time. You got enough data, you got enough information, you talked with enough people that you know fully the way you feel about it. So that's what I'm going to do. But here goes the questions. Question number 1 would be, in the inception of not Man of Steel, but Batman versus Superman, before there was an actual title of Batman vs. Superman, I remember at Comic-Con, they had Lenny announce that it was going to be not just the Man of Steel sequel, but it was going to be Batman and Superman on screen for the very first time, because they had an emblem of Batman vs. Superman. But they never said that it was called Batman vs. Superman. So what was originally going to be the title for Batman vs. Superman? And on top of that, was it actually going to be split into 2 different parts? A long time ago, there was a picture that was on site, and it had 2 different titles. One was Dawn of Justice, but then there was a first part that was named something completely different. Is there any kind of connection to that when it came to reality? Question number 2. These are going to be completely unorthodox. I'm right now playing with my son. Question number 2 is, was the original Batman versus Superman cut, was there more unfiltered content in terms of what was going to be shown and what wasn't going to be shown? I think one of the biggest misconceptions was that this Justice League part of it was kind of just added in last minute. And I'm very curious to see if this was something that was very different ending for Batman versus Superman. So yeah, just curious about that. Question number 2. This is more of a Justice League based question. And pretty much all of us probably want to know, how did Justice League originally end? What was the actual ending to Justice League? Because I know that with Warner Brothers, they released the Communion piece when Batman vs. Superman came out, and it was very much so a connector to Lex Luthor's connection to Apocalypse. And in addition to his connection to Apocalypse, he was the reason why they came. And that was never alluded to in Justice League. And so I felt like Zack Snyder and his amazingness always connects things. There's always a reasoning behind everything. So my thinking is that if he started with that from the beginning, then it had to have paid off a different way. Next question. When it came to Ezra Miller's role in Batman vs. Superman, I feel like everybody else was kind of tagged on, but that one was one that was carefully thought it out and plotted. And I was just really curious as to, was that scene that, you know, Bruce had with Flash, was that like a premonition of things to come, or was that legit, did that actually really happen? Because it looked like it was a dream, but then it looked like it was actually real. I've always assumed that it was real. I was curious as to when that scene happened, was that actually something that really happened? And what was your real interpretation behind what was going to come next? I mean, my assumption was, of course, is Apocalypse related, and of course with the nightmare sequence, I mean, it definitely is evident. And then carrying over into, you know, Justice League, but I was just really curious about that. That's question number 3 for me. Question number 4. I know that I brought up the communion scene that is on the Warner Brothers site. It's still there and is one of the most amazing scenes that was never really in the movie. But one of the things about that is that I thought that Jesse Eisenberg acted it very well. And some people have given him criticism for Batman vs. Superman, even though I actually loved his performance. Specifically the scene when he's on top of the center stage with Superman, and he kind of brings Superman to his knees, quote unquote, by threatening Martha, and it's like there's nothing he could do. Thought that was a really well acted scene. On top of that, when he acted against Ben Affleck when he was in the prison, and he was like, ding, 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 they're coming. So in Justice League, was there extra scenes shot with Jesse Eisenberg? I've even heard that Jared Leto actually had extra scenes in Justice League, that they were in London around the same exact time in 2016 when Justice League was actually shot. And so I was just really curious as to what was Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor's role in Justice League. Did he have a role? Was it existent? Was it not? Rumor mill, you know, I mean, he did have an end credit scene at the end, but I feel like there was more to it than that. And I feel like he had to have gotten broken out probably by Deathstroke. That's the reason why they connected together. I'm just really curious about that. Next question. I'm losing track of numbers. This question is kind of a front and back question. At the very end of Justice League, there's an end scene where Diana is kind of like rounding up some thugs, and it looks like there's a cat burglar, and quote unquote. And I was like thinking that was definitely Selina Kyle with the person that, you know, had the glasses, and I was thinking that was Selina Kyle, but that wasn't really the question. The question really does revolve around Diana. In the beginning of the movie, you know, she goes and thwarts this like terrorist, you know, situation. And when I remember in the trailers, not even in the trailers, behind the scenes, there was like this building that blew up from the bottom half. But yet what we saw was, you know, of course, the bomb being thrown in the air and nothing really happened. What really happened when Diana, you know, attempted to stop the terrorist attack? Did she fail? Did something else blow up? And not, even closer to that, was there supposed to be a significant role for that specific villain that did that as well? So I was just really curious what really happened, because it seems like it was definitely a little bit different from what the behind the scenes showed. The questions keep on coming. And I mean, some of these questions you guys are probably asking right now, I'm bringing them up because these are all factual questions. These have all been brought up in Vero. These have all been hypothesized, theorized, shot down by other people. And like, these are just circumstantial questions. So I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to do 2 more and then I'm done after this one. The next question, it ties to, man, how did I do this? I just forgot it. It ties to the Justice League movie. In the Justice League movie, Cyborg has some really key, amazing scenes, and Ray Fisher acts them very well. But there was definitely scenes that we saw with him in football attire,
Definitely seen like some VFX shots with him, with his mother. And I was just curious, was there ever like a scene actually shot with his car crash, with what happened to him, like how he got turned into this situation? Of course, in Batman vs Superman, we did see, you know, him kind of being switched over by the mother box, and that's how he got grafted and changed. But was there actual circumstantial scene? And then on top of that, there was definitely scenes, behind the scenes stuff that I saw with Azra Miller, and like some behind the scenes stuff I saw with unfinished VFX when it comes to Cyborg and his flight. Was there a even deeper epic moment later on in the third act of the movie when it came to Apocalypse, quote unquote, or when Steppenwolf came? I don't want to sit there and go and say the big word because I'm gonna save that for a little bit later. But I'm just curious, was there something bigger when it came to Cyborg trying to pull the mother boxes apart? Did he see anything? Just curious. Yeah, another question, and this is the second to the last question. At the end of the movie, of course, Superman showed up, and of course, you know, whatever happened with Superman, it definitely got changed from, I guess, what initially was the thing. Because I was able to talk with Mark McClure. I actually went and did a small little interview with him, and he kind of raised some interesting things about the end fight with Superman, how it was very significantly different, and how he was a police officer at the time, and things just got switched and changed. But that's not necessarily the question. I mean, you want to expound on that, that's great, but my biggest question would be, the third act, there's a picture that's shown that has the whole entire Justice League, and they're looking up into the sky. And this is one that hasn't been re-edited or anything like that, or from a reshoot. This was actually a scene, and I was curious, what did they see? Was it the Mother Box Tunnel? Did they see Darkseid maybe? Did they see Apocalypse maybe? Matter of fact, even bigger question, did they lose? Was it that they actually win? Was it initially that they actually won, or did like the Flash have to go back in time and do something completely different? I'm just curious, what did they see? What was Superman's real role at the end? I'm not even going to ask the biggest question about the black suit. Like, it's fine. I'm just really curious about how it really ended. Like, what was the real ending with Superman's involvement? And if you want to expound on how Superman came back, that would even be awesome as well. Like, how did Superman initially come back? Did he come back from the ground? Did he come back from the ship? Or was it something completely different? Just curious. Last but not least, I'm going to keep it central. I've been trying to keep everything tied to Batman vs Superman in some capacity. There was a lot of there's a lot of speculation between Jennifer Malone, Eastwood, and Suicide Squad, and then in general, like with the Tombstone, when it came to the Robin that died. And I think you've made it clear on Vero that that was Dick Grayson, and that Kara Kelly would be a big involvement because Batman vs Superman took a lot from The Dark Knight Returns. In hindsight with that, even though Dick Grayson could be dead, if that is actually true, if actually you can go back on that, what about all the rest of them? What about Jason Todd? Was Jason Todd dead? Is he non-existent? What about Tim Drake? Is he older? Is he in existence? Did Batman go and try to find another protege outside of Kara Kelly? And then even going deep dive back, going back to Man of Steel, those pods, which led inclusion to the possibility of Kara being involved. So it's just so many different side characters that connected to Batman and Superman that really we don't know. And I thought that Jennifer Maloney would have been an amazing Batgirl. I was just really curious, and that's my closing question. I mean, I have so many more, but I just want to let you know, Zach, we love you. We thank you. You're an amazing director. We hope that you make your way back to the DCU soon. All right.
All right, so you might as well call this a bonus question. The flashback sequence was shot amazingly, right? Robin Wright was supposedly reprising her role because she was one of the Amazonians in that fight. That was one of the most legendary fights of all time. And so I was like, I didn't get to see her. And, of course, we did see a lantern. We did see a lot of interesting things, but the inclusion was that Darkseid was supposed to be involved in some capacity in that. And my question is, was that scene longer? This is a bonus question, by the way. Was the scene longer? Was it at the beginning of the movie, or was it like the very beginning? Was that the opening of the movie? Was it, you know, towards the middle? And was Darkseid there?
There's stuff in my beard. I just gotta eat. Alright, you guys, that was all my questions for the Zack Snyder, the director's cuts. And I'm not gonna be there, but I'm praying that some of you guys that are there pull from some of the questions I've raised. Probably you guys have some of these questions already, but I wanted to specifically send this video message to a really awesome YouTuber by the name of Wong-Swenson of Ping Pong Flicks. I actually have him on the bell. I check his videos out every morning. If you want to know great stuff about the DCU and anything in between, as far as movies and recommendations, like, Chris is a really good source for it. So definitely go and check out his channel and subscribe if you have not. Really good content. But anybody that is there, I knew Chris is going to be there. I know your boy, oh shoot, man, a whole bunch of people gonna be there. But I'm not gonna be there. I'm hoping that you guys raise some really good questions in the Q&A session and really bring back some really dope information. But please, if you can, like, share this, subscribe, and let me know if you guys have any added questions that maybe Chris can kind of raise, or anybody else that's actually going, and that way we can kind of push the narrative, see where it's going on, like get inside the head of Zack. And all my love, for real, Zack. Like, thank you for continuing to be a content creator, artist, director. You brought some of the most amazing films to history, honestly. I mean, in Watchmen, of course, Dawn of the Dead, but Man of Steel, 300, Batman vs Superman, regardless of whatever you want to say or think, has never been done anything like that before. So I'm just really proud for what you have done, and like, as a DC fan and as a comic book fan in general, and just lover of film and a director as well, like, I commend you. Pray blessings upon you and your family, even in spite of everything that has happened, regardless if it's with the tragedy or even with what's going on with Warner Brothers. Like, we definitely appreciate you for who you are and what you've done for the craft of film and for the comic book genre. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Remember, please share this. Raise more questions. Put it in the comment section below. And Chris, this video, legit, is going to you. All right. Peace, guys.